This is a More Than Just Podcast production.
Welcome to Podcast Season 9, Episode 8. My name is Tim Mitra. I am in Toronto, Ontario, and I'm joined by Jonathan Kuline in, no, not Mississauga, in Florenceville, Bristol, New Brunswick.
That's where I am. Hello there, kids.
And I'm also joined by Jaime Lopez Jr., not in Mississauga either. He's in Seattle, Washington.
How's it going?
États-Unis. It's going good, I guess. Yeah, so we'll dive in. I haven't gone all the way through the last episode, so I don't think there was any fact check. We were once again perfect. So I think I said Jaime guy's weighing us down, John. Really.
Well, I did say the boys on the on our Slack channel mentioned that we weren't sure.
Oh yeah, there was
Sam
a fact check. Yeah,
we weren't sure if Sam was on the ship on the Miyazaki or if she was on the other ship and she was on the Miyazaki. So thanks, guys, for fact checking this.
Yeah, that was Dave, I believe, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think so.
That was in Spoiler
Zone. Yeah.
Spoiler Zone.
Yeah, for those worried that you're going to get onto our Slack channel and instantly be ruined for all things sci-fi, we do group things.
Yeah, so Dave Price had said that he was also concerned about the bait and switch with Tilly, and also he did mention that Sam was on the Miyazaki's. That's why she started glitching, because she was tied into the computer.
Oh, that's right.
At the time the big stuff happened. Okay, yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Alrighty, so let's move on to the headlines. And Jonathan, you got the first kick at the stories.
Yeah, hot on the heels of our top story last week that broke just before we recorded, that Paramount had won the bidding and was going to purchase Warner Brothers and all its assets, including HBO and CNN and all that good stuff, for which I will ask Jaime in a moment for his thoughts. But we have news this week that HBO Max is going to be folded into Paramount Plus. So this does not immediately impact us here in Canada. There's a second story that we've got a link in our show notes that the folks at Bell Media, which own Crave, are basically saying, no, we've got a contract. And like, yeah, okay. So it basically says that, things are fine for now, but, obviously deep pockets at Paramount, Skydance, and also circumstances. I mean, obviously for them, they can get direct subscribers here in Canada. I don't know why they would want a second hand in the cookie jar. So not sure that's going to last. So for the time being, HBO content staying on Crave in Canada, and in the foreseeable future, it's going to become HBO Max / Paramount. Jaime, I know you love following this, if only for the very least because you like to watch the names change at HBO regularly. How has all this landed with you? This is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, there's separate things. So it is bad for Paramount, Skydance to own Warner Brothers, HBO. Like, that is definitely going to kill Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, which I guess, besides his actual demise, is the only way in which they could stop winning Emmys. So the streak finally ends. The Daily Show stands a chance. SNL stands a chance.
I was going to say, is SNL behind this? Did they put in a bid for this?
Put the money up, yeah.
Yeah. In terms of the streaming app wise, they're not really great, but HBO Max is a better app across all platforms. Just Paramount Plus is not a good app. Like, ignoring content, just the app. Everybody should just be as good as Netflix. Somehow they are not in terms of the app. So in a vague crossover with MTJC, everybody's concerned about AI slop, but let me tell you, there's a lot of natural slop out there too. So I look forward to this thing suggesting the wrong episode next, where I've clearly got like 10 seconds left in, like the credits of Starfleet Academy. It's like, oh, I think you want to watch that, right? No, I want to watch the next episode that just came out.
Yeah, and on the Crave Don't Panic thing, I used to work with our president of a company was a lawyer at one point, and he said he would say often that a contract is just a piece of paper.
Yeah, I mean, any contract can be bought out, but I mean, I was talking with somebody about
broken.
This.
Or broken.
I was talking about this earlier in the week with somebody, and this would be a very major blow to Crave. You know, they have made their own original content. Some of their original content is quite good, but
and it goes back out on HBO in the States.
Yeah, it's a reciprocal deal in its way, but it's still, I think, for a lot of people in here in Canada, the HBO is the biggest draw to Crave. If they were to lose that, I think that would be a very serious blow, if not a death blow to what they're doing.
Well, mind you, I've said that many times before, that every market has its own media buyers that arrange contracts with shows, and that's how they end up on various channels. So it's, you know, it's not the end of things, but yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge Paramount fan. I've watched a handful of shows on it, obviously, but yeah, I don't know if I was actually just watching. No, I was watching a Hulu show, I guess, on Disney, right? So yeah, I don't know. I'm not so sure about Paramount taking over everything, but then, you know, it's the nature of the world these days, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'd feel better about it if I hadn't seen what they've done since they purchased the assets of CBS and Paramount. That is, Skydance has purchased those, and they've, as we talked about last week, they've kind of gutted what happened to CBS News. Was pretty brutal. They, you know, have ruined 60 Minutes. They've ruined CBS News, and I'm not hopeful for what they might do to, as Jaime says, John Oliver, CNN, independent journalists, you know, anything like that. Yeah,
maybe Colbert can join Spotcast as a co-host.
You know, I think we just open the doors to all of them. I think we'll just, Colbert's got some inside scoop on Star Trek he could talk to us about.
Oh, he's got the big Lord of the Rings perspective too.
That's true. Right? It's true. All right. Well, let's move on. And this one has been a slow brew the last couple of weeks, and I don't know if either of you have seen this, but so Nathan Fillion has been teasing us on his socials this last couple of weeks by going up to the front doors of some of his former castmates of Firefly and Serenity and saying cryptic things like, "It's time," and "We doing this thing?" So far, he has spoken with, I think, 5. Today was Jewel. So he'd already spoken to Sean Maher. He'd already spoken to Marina Baccarin. He'd already spoken to Gina Torres. Today was Jewel State. So really, he's like,
yesterday was the crazy girl.
Summer Glau, yeah.
Summer, yeah.
So there's only 2 people left. That would be Adam and Alan, although Alan's character was killed off, so who knows if he's going to be involved. But what they have not said is what all this is. What they have said is what this isn't. They said it's not just about us getting together and doing a con appearance. It's not us getting together and doing a podcast. They say it's something else. And so all the brown coats out there after 20 years are kind of starting to get our hopes back up, which is potentially very dangerous. How many times have we hoped that we might see more from this universe and had the rug pulled out from under us? But it still hasn't come out what this is. This has been going on, as I say, for about 2 weeks now. It is something, but we don't know what it is. So, gentlemen, what is this?
Could be a movie. Could be a project that Nathan Fillion is getting behind. You know, he's been doing pretty well in the. He's 6 or 7 seasons into the Rookie show, right? So yeah, and the other ones, Marina Baccarin's got a regular show now, and Gina Torres, right, as well. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, considering that those 2 ladies are tied up in series right now, I think a movie that they could take do on the side or something might be something they would think about, right? Serenity 2.
Jaime, what do you think?
I'm guessing it's got to be at least a mini series or movie kind of thing. Like, I don't think it's like, where I'm going with this is, take for example the Muppets show that just came out as a one night special, and it's like a backdoor pilot. They're really hoping that it did well, because if you've got the Muppets, it's like the most expensive part of doing the show, right? Is building the Muppets, and they might have already had a whole bunch of them already when they appear, like on Sesame Street or something. For doing something, sci-fi, CGI centric like Firefly, I don't know that you can go the cheap route of like put something out there as a teaser, like a 1 episode, 1-off, and then hope fans clamor for more. I feel like they kind of have to have something here, right?
Yeah, I mean, this would be a as I say, we've had our hopes up a bit before with, there was a whole thing a number of years ago with, help Nathan buy Firefly. There was talk that he was like, well, maybe we could buy the rights at one point because Fox held them. That was before they went, Disney bought the assets. So it is important to know that this is Disney now, right? So Disney owns all the Fox rights. So therefore they own the rights to Firefly and Serenity. And they, in theory, are now, always looking for content for their big Disney Plus Hulu world. Kind of makes sense as a Hulu show. Kind of fits that.
Yeah, they are promoting it quite a bit too, right? So it's on the series is on, got one of the big tiles on the front of the front door, the homepage or landing page or whatever, right?
Yeah. So that, to me, that kind of makes a bit of sense. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to get my hopes up. I truly don't, because if it is not something like this, it's going to be devastating after all this hype. But I feel like this is the closest we've come in a very long time, and I don't know. It's a weird one because obviously it's weird because Alan has gone on to become a pretty well-known actor, and it was a beloved character, and he wouldn't be there unless they can find a way to revive him. And Joss obviously wouldn't be involved in this. This was Joss's baby too. So, is it the same? Is it the cast that makes it? Is it the everything? I don't know. It's interesting.
Hard to say.
We got the trailer for Lanterns, just Lanterns. Maybe it's DC Studios Lanterns, if you prefer, coming out on HBO Max, live action, with Kyle Chandler as Hal Jordan and Aaron Pierre as Jon Stewart. But it's gritty and real. It's like you take away the Rings part for a little bit, and it's basically a buddy cop movie, right?
It looks like True Detective, right?
Very similar, yeah. And it's coming out real soon, coming out in August. So it must be pretty close to finalized on, I know they do, CGI work and post-production stuff, but it's not like a year away. It's not 2 years away. We see some actual stuff. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm a little conflicted about this one because I am a huge Green Lantern fan. Both those characters, the Hal Jordan and the Jon Stewart. I'm excited that they're doing this, but also I'm trepidatious because there was very little Green Lanterning in the Lanterns trailer. Really, we only saw a couple of instances. We get a brief glimpse of one of the suits, and we see Kyle Chandler sort of leap into the sky, but he doesn't even have like a green aura around him. He just kind of flies. So how they're approaching this is kind of interesting. And also, given that Warner Brothers HBO is now on the block, you can't help but think when some of these series come along, are they going to change things? Are they going to cut the budget for this? Are they going to have the budget for this? How are they going to do this? Like, all that stuff makes me nervous.
I interpret this to not be necessarily in the same continuity as the Superman movie series. It is guaranteed. I mean, it didn't seem totally contradictory, but is it in there? Okay.
Yeah, they've already said this is all the same universe. Again, they're going to do kind of what Marvel's been doing in that the tone of some of these series will be, either more adult or less adult. I mean, from the people who brought you Peacemaker, Peacemaker season 1 was in continuity of the first DC iteration of the, cinematic universe. And now season 2 was set in the new one. We got Creature Commandos. Again, those are pretty adult and gory and a little incongruous with the Superman. But then, I mean, in Peacemaker, we saw like full on like characters right out of Superman in Peacemaker. Here, this is the Lanterns as they are going to be in the Superman side. It's just possible that these are going to be the less, slapsticky. I mean, we saw Guy Gardner. Guy Gardner is a Green Lantern too. We saw a more over the top version of a Green Lantern. So it will be interesting to see how they reconcile all that.
Yeah, because Jon Stewart here says like, hey. You're like a loner, Hal. Like you don't even chat with the rest of the Green Lantern. He's like, bro, I'm the only human. One of them was Squirrel, like. So clearly there is nutty stuff. I just wasn't sure if that put this outside of the Superman continuity. So it's good to get the confirmation that it will line up.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it delivers because it looks pretty. Those good actors, good vibes. But yeah.
Yeah, I think the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie kind of ruined it. But aren't the lanterns like from multiple different like worlds, like not just Earth?
Yeah, I mean, Kyle says that at one point in the trailer. He sort of says, one of them is a squirrel, right? And that's legit from the comic books. But yeah, the idea is that the Guardians, who are the ones who sort of created the rings, basically assign each ring to a certain creature from a certain sector, and so Hal Jordan is theoretically the Green Lantern to protect this area that includes Earth. And he inherits his ring because an alien crashes on Earth, and the ring immediately seeks someone who is worthy, who is worthy to carry the ring. Here, they've kind of taken an interesting approach because it's almost like Training Day, right? It's basically like he's got the Aaron Pierre character as this rookie space cop, and he's showing him the ropes. The part where he in the trailer where he flings himself out of the car and basically throws him over the top and basically says you have to figure it out. It's a bit extreme version of that character, but I guess that's it, right? But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a bad idea to take it seriously and play it seriously. I do wonder. I mean, Kyle Chandler is Aaron Pierre is a young man. He's obviously a rising star in Hollywood. Kyle is obviously an older man. It is an interesting way to approach this, to sort of do the age differences and the sort of sensei and student kind of relationship.
What else have you brought us, Jaime?
We have The Boys final season trailer. Final season debuting on Prime Video April 8th. I can't think of a better time to trailer what's going on in the world and how closely this is adhering. And they have to be months, maybe a couple of years in advance with all the CGI work and post-production and stuff that they do. So talk about skating where the puck is going, right? Like, this is timely, bloody, humorous, all the things you expect from Boys.
Especially with Homelander sitting in the Oval Office, right? So with his feet up on the desk.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's we knew the final season of this was going to be pretty epic and also pretty grim, given where we kind of left off both the last season of The Boys and also the last season of Gen V. And this definitely matches the tone. It looks pretty explosive, pretty intense, but definitely very The Boys. Like, it looks like they're going out with a bang.
Right, so back to you, Jaime, or Jonathan.
I'll be Jaime Jonathan.
Jaime Jonathan.
So we got some casting news this week, which is actually pretty cool. We got 3 key members of the cast for season 2 of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. So as we've talked about, they're going to do these every year, which is exciting. They're going to do, shorter seasons, shorter episodes. And so we were already looking at, casting for season 2. We got Lucy Boynton is going to be coming in playing Lady Rohan, who is aka the Red Widow. Is a very important character. But the really interesting part of this is 2 very sort of notable people from other sci-fi franchises. Babu Sise, who we've talked about as being really, really great as Morrow, the cyborg from Alien Earth, is going to be joining the series as Sir Bennis of the Brown Shield, who is another knight that works with Dunk in that story. And we also got Peter Mullen. So Peter Mullen, again, Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. He's a major player in that. He's also been in Westworld. He's a very well-known actor, and he's going to play Sir Eustace Osprey, who's the person who's employing Dunk and Sir Bennis. So these are not like side characters; these are main characters for season 2. So. Sounds like the casting is pretty bang on. In typical, there are trolls everywhere. There were people who were like, "But Sir Bennis isn't black." Yeah, okay, it's fine. Calm down. But yeah, I think it looks, like these are really good fits. These are really good actors, and yeah, I think this makes sense to me, and I'm excited to see what they bring.
Yep. Well, we'll wait and see.
This next one I heard about today, and it is kind of a drag. So Dark Horse Comics, which has been around for 40 years, produced some incredible, well-known titles over the years, things like Sin City and The Mask and Hellboy and, countless projects that have gone on to become well-known Hollywood franchises as well as other things. A major part of that success has been a guy named Mike Richardson, who was the founder and publisher of Dark Horse for all these years. A few years ago, during the pandemic, things were not good at Dark Horse as far as their bottom line. They ended up selling to a company that is called Embracer Group, which was they were invested in video games and all kinds of other stuff. They had a huge infusion of money from the Gulf states, and seemed like it was going to be something that helped stabilize them. It has not. It's turned out to be not quite as stable as they were hoping for, and so they've been continuing to struggle financially, and it hasn't really affected them, I don't think, creatively, but it's been a bit of a distraction in the background. Today they announced that Mike Richardson is leaving. It says he's been removed, according to the story from the Wrap, or Comics Beat, rather. Sad that this is the end of this road, although, again, not super surprising given the circumstances that they're going through, that they would do a restructure. They're moving somebody who is sort of, the overarching person for the group inside Embracer that he was working with. Dark Horse is now the interim CEO and publisher. This guy's name is Jay Comas. It's just I wanted to highlight it because I wanted to say, thanks to Mike Richardson for an amazing run. This company started from nothing and he built it up, published some unbelievably wonderful comic books over the years. Was really a pioneer in bridging that line between publishing and producing. If you go back and watch movies from the 90s, like The Mask and things like that, he's credited as a producer. Like he was actively involved in bringing some of those characters to the screen. And, again, just a bit of a frustrating and sad end for somebody who's done a lot of great things. I have dealt with Dark Horse in my career as a journalist previously and found them to be absolutely excellent to deal with. The culture there was always really good. And again, it's been a while, but I was just really sad to hear that this was sort of the end for Mike. Although I suspect it will not be the end for Mike. I don't think we'll not hear from him again. But I just wanted to shout him out and say, if this is his last hurrah at Dark Horse, what a legacy he left behind. Dark Horse is still one of the best known names in comic books, and he's created a legacy, so good for him.
Yeah, 40 years is a long time too, right? So maybe he'll be a board member somewhere.
Yeah, logically, yeah.
And now for some bad news.
And I saved this one for the last so that we could fight over it.
We could stick poke it with sticks. Yeah. Okay.
In an interview on a podcast this week, our good friend Seth MacFarlane talked about the Orville, and he said that they have written the entire fourth season, and that it is possible that they could make this. It's just a question of when he has time in his very busy schedule as, actor, producer, singer, all those things that he does to make it. It's been, I think, 4 years since the last season. The first season was 2017, so 9 years ago. So yeah, for those scoring at home, 3 seasons in 9 years, and they're talking about a fourth. I don't know about you, Tim. I did not finish the last season. I stopped caring pretty early. I kind of gave up as well. For those of you who are longtime listeners and have listened to all 250 plus episodes, you may recall that there was some disagreement about the quality of the Orville over the years. And there were some good ones. I got to admit, there were some episodes I enjoyed, but there was more that I didn't. And Jaime, you were our Orville advocate. You liked it more than we did. Does this fill you with hope? Are you excited? Do you want to get it, a fourth season just so the three of us can bash it around a bit?
I guess I'm probably the closest to an apologist for the Orville that is on this show. It is amusing to me that here we are talking about, maybe they'll do possibly another season of Firefly, whereas this one is like so close to having a fourth season. This is Seth MacFarlane like running up the score at the game, to give folks the positive side, right? Like if you wanted like off-brand TNG, like this is about as close as you're going to get, right? Maybe someday we'll have something more akin to TNG for new Star Trek. Lower Decks maybe got the closest to that. Maybe some parts of Strange New Worlds. But this is like a love letter to TNG from Seth MacFarlane, who's a big fan. So if you're into that, but again, it's more like the store brand instead of the Kraft mac and cheese, if you get my drift. Like, it's comforting. It's not quite the same. That's what I would give on the apology. I'm not going to say this is a must-watch. I'm not saying it's amazing television. But yeah, I'm like, cool. I sure hope it does happen. But I'm not going to be, clamoring at the gates, so to speak.
Here's my one-sentence review of the Orville. It makes Discovery look really good.
There you go, folks. Takes all types here.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy because there is still. I mean, I have made the for the cause mistake of going on to sort of see how the reaction to things like Starfleet Academy and Strange New Worlds and all those things are. Beyond our limited purview, the three of us and our Slack channel. There are people who just do not like New Trek, do not like it at all. They think it's they don't like the swearing. They don't like this, conflict based at times as opposed to exploration based. They just don't feel like it's true Trek. And then there are people who are just misogynists and morons and people who are just, why are all the characters queer? Why are all this, all this nonsense that people come through? At the risk of offending Jaime, I feel like you could go watch The Orville.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Like it is more true to what Trek is, right? Like it definitely feels like Trek stuck in a time loop in 1988.
Yeah. I mean, the reality is that, the way the characters were written in the 60s for the original series that's how people generally thought society was. There were still gay people, there were still colored people, there were still, all kinds of like races and stuff like that. Mind you, Star Trek did embrace the racial differences, right? But there was no money, and it was egalitarian and whatever, right? But I mean, and then when you moved into Next Generation, they got a little bit more progressive, and then now we're at the point where we're writing stuff for the 2025s, or 2026s, which basically makes people of non-binaries and trans, and we've had characters in the last. I mean, in Strange New Worlds, we had a trans character. We've had multiple characters, right? So before back in the original series, the strangest thing they could do was have a gas cloud be sentient.
Yeah. I mean, it's not all for everybody, and to each their own. But yeah, I mean, I find some of the dialogue around New Trek and particularly Starfleet Academy, because it has been pretty progressive, I would say, and in a way that I enjoy, but it clearly isn't for everybody. I've been a little disappointed by some of the discourse around that stuff. So to each their own. Hey, I mean, the Orville is kind of weird because it's like it's almost like the guy from the Family Guy wrote a sci-fi show, right? Like they're just weird characters in it. Like Isaac is really kind of strange, and yeah, my struggle with it has always just been just an uneven tone. Like it's not earnest enough to be earnest. It's not funny enough to be funny. It just kind of sits in this sort of nebulous zone. I mean, it's weird to have a show that goes from like them putting Mr. Potato Head parts on Isaac to, to try and then take it seriously if it's trying to do something dramatic where they're trying to save people and stuff. I just feel like I don't know what they were going for, but it never hit me where I wanted it to.
It's true. Like there were episodes where there was a moral cause that had to be, put forward, but it followed a show that was just all slapstick, and it just didn't make sense. It was too far of a stretch between the different. I mean, notwithstanding what we're seeing in Academy these days, just there's kind of a drift. But then Academy is more like a high school, soap kind of thing, right? With pew pew transporters and stuff.
All right, Jaime, now you have to stand in to defend it again.
Now, should we move on?
Now you have to defend it again.
So, should we move on to the main part of the show where we talk about something Star Trek related? In fact, it'll be Starfleet Academy is what we'll be talking about.
For sure.
So, yeah, I had a couple of interesting questions right off the hop. I mean, wasn't the Omega 13 from Galaxy Quest?
Mega particle in general.
The Omega particle or Omega. I thought it was Omega 13.
But I am wondering about the reference you're talking about because it sounds pretty close to correct.
Yeah, because Omega 37 was what the bad Nox took, or Nox is his name, took from the space station, right? And they so I'm calling the Omega 13 Easter egg in this episode. I know I'm out of order, but
Galaxy Quest Wiki says the Omega 13 device. So it's kind of a 2-for-1 there in terms of what you want to consider as an Easter egg.
Yeah. Anyway, we're talking about season 1, episode 9, which of 10 episodes. This is the 300th night, or it was year end or something. I thought initially, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be like the end of the school year, and they're all supposed to be like, "Hooray, we're going to Beta Z to go to the Federation new headquarters, and it's going to be a big party, and it's going to be great." And then it all goes sideways. Jaime, get a pitch.
I kept it pretty straight that, Caleb thinks he's found his mother while Nukes Braca has all the nukes.
Yeah, pretty close. I had, Caleb's dreams finally come true, and then everyone's trapped in a nightmare.
And my pitch is, has the Red Angel returned? Hold my beer.
Yeah. I mean, it's a strange one because, obviously we start with this sort of heartfelt, that the students are all bonding. They've spent their first year together. Jaden has this, ceremony to welcome all his friends into his family. Caleb's feeling conflicted. And, they kind of telegraphed, obviously, where this was going a little bit. And then, the sort of newly constituted Sam basically helps Caleb finally figure out how he can figure out where his mom is and what's going on. And then it turns into a typical, we'll just borrow this shuttlecraft no one will ever notice kind of mission.
We'll just sneak out the back door.
Yeah.
As you do as a teenager,
sure,
right? Yeah.
Sure you do.
We take Dad's car and go for a joyride, right?
Yeah. But complicating, of course, is the fact that they have discovered that this mine has gone off and has basically destroyed a solar system. A region of space has now become uninhabitable and can't even be transported through. And so they discovered that that's what this has been, the MacGuffin that we had from a previous episode where, the Miyazaki episode where we ended up with, the bad guys stole all the Omega 47 and then turned it into mines. And they're like, uh-oh, we better circle the wagons. Little did they know that was exactly what Nukes Braca and gang wanted, right?
Yeah, I did kind of see when they were saying they were all the Federation ships were heading to Beta Z. I'm like, dude, what was that? We were just watching something. In Paradise where they were talking about, you basically head the cows down to a tunnel and then that's how they make hamburgers, right? They narrow down the path, right? So kind of silly approach. I can't imagine why they would ever think that all of the ships would go to one place. You'd leave a couple, watching the door kind of thing, right?
Yeah. It's a strange thing, too, because, obviously as the episode progresses, we see that that's the plan. I think probably all three of us must have seen that coming, that it was going to be, oh, what a shock. They're basically put mines all around Federation space. Weird, though, because it's not only are they mines, but they seem to have created this force field around all of Federation space. So they're basically inside of a bubble now. That seems like a lot of space.
They kind of explain it with a 2-dimensional graphic.
Yeah.
As opposed to the Tholian web, which surrounds the ship in 360 degrees, right? Just go up instead of left or right.
Immediately I was like, space is infinite. Just go down a lot or up a lot. But, like all planets would be on a parallel, which is one of my favorite nonsensical space TV things. But, Yeah, I thought it was like, an interesting.
What,
notion.
you're not a member of the Flat Universe Society?
No, I'm a member of the Expanding Universe Society, constantly expanding. And of course, through all this, intrigue, we also get this, moment where, Caleb's dream finally does come true, and he finally does reunite with his mom. Not in small part thanks to Sam and also Genesis and Darum, who have joined them on this impromptu away mission. So we finally get to Tatiana Maslany back playing his mom, and she's on a planet that is also being harassed by the Vernari Rawl, and that leads to some conflicts there. And then of course, because mischief has to happen, the Chancellor, Nala, and the Doctor and Jet basically drop all the kids off at the Beta Z ceremony, and then grab the Athena and hightail it. And of course, Jaden and Tarima have hidden out inside the ship. So basically all our stars coincidentally happen to be on this ship now for the sort of conclusionary, the ultimate episode of the first season. So what struck you as far as the pew pew pews? This had some pew pew pews. We've had a few pew 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 light episodes the last few weeks. So here we are. We finally got some to choose from.
Well, it was the guns drawn on the planet that they went to. I like how they sort of have that sort of one. They have one look for the spaceship, and they have another look for the planets, where they kind of have that Blade Runner kind of camping crossover thing. But there's a scene where they're I think when Kale's mother, Tatiana Maslany, she starts shooting, and there's like bang 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 bang. Rapid succession, bodies dropping, right? And the kids in the middle who are chained to a table don't get hit.
Yeah, yes.
Oh, and also the follow-up scene where Nala brings the Athena right down, almost practically on top of them, right? And then beams everybody out.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool.
Jaime, what'd you have?
For Pew Pew Pew, I went with the Omega 47 blows up real good. I think they did a pretty good job of showing us the destructive power.
And the thing you mentioned, Tim, I had that flagged as an Easter egg, because when they are trying to figure out how to get low enough to use the transporter, Nala says, let's use the Kumau maneuver, right? And that's straight out of Discovery. That was an episode, the episode where they're chasing those two characters, is it like Mock and Locke or whatever from the last season, and they have to bring the Discovery down into the atmosphere to that's the one where there's going to be a rock slide, and they have to go down into the atmosphere. That's on the planet Kumau. So apparently the Discovery entering the atmosphere has inspired something called the Kumau maneuver now. So yeah. I didn't get a lot of other Easter eggs. Did you guys catch anything else?
I don't know if this counts. Maybe it was already a given. I noted a Kelpian student, just like Saru from Discovery.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. In
the elevator.
Yeah, it's fun to see the mixes, and there definitely seems like I can't always place it because it happens, they sort of are background characters, but it definitely seems that there are a lot of hybrid characters. You're like, is that a Klingon but also something else? You're trying to sort of see that. I wonder if that's just sort of supposed to be the legacy of the burn, is that, love the one you're with. I don't know. Like, it just feels like there's a lot of multiculturalism represented there.
Yeah, it's interesting that on this show, unlike other Star Treks, where all the regulars are on the show, or they're shown up at least once or twice. Even if they just pass by or whatever. We haven't seen Jet Reno's partner in like 3 or 4 episodes now, right?
Yeah. I thought that was strange as well. I agree. Like, she was pretty prominent the first few, and then has pretty much disappeared.
But they've mentioned her a few times, right? And they kind of just sort of said, "Oh, by the way, she said this," and it's like she sent a postcard,
Yeah, I don't know. Again, maybe there was like a scheduling conflict and she couldn't be in part of the season, or who knows what. But it is glaring. I definitely feel it too.
Yeah, maybe she had COVID or something. Who knows, or whatever.
And also,
couldn't make it.
yeah, theoretically, someone should be watching these students. It's convenient to have a little plot out at some point.
Yeah. Well, the Chancellor's got everything under control, right? So.
Yeah. Quotes? Any good quotes you guys liked?
Lots of good ones. I got when they're just. I had to stop and go back and look at this one, but when they're all freaking out on the shuttle and they're all pretty much gonna bite it, and what's her name? Sam says, "You're all young and healthy, and you can stand to have your lives a little less supported right now."
Oh yeah, when he turns off the life support, yeah, that was a great line. Yeah, I like that one.
And then I can't remember these people's names. The Chancellor says, "Thank you, Charlie." To Vance when he leaves. Yeah.
I guess she is his elder by a few hundred years.
But she's pretty much saying, like, you can say what you want, but I'm going to do what I want anyway. And he knows she's going to do what she wants anyway, right? So, and then Jet had some great lines. She says, "That's where I'd put my money if we had money."
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I feel like she's our avatar for the show. Jet is like, I'm just actually her, just hanging out here.
And then when the last one I have is when they decide, the senior officers decide they're going to break the rules and they're going to forge ahead and go get these kids, right? And she gives them the order to engage or whatever. She says, "All right, I'll see you turkeys in the brig."
Yeah. That's a good one. Jaime, you have anything else?
I had Darum, when he stumbles his way onto the shuttle when he's partying.
Oh, when he's drunk, yeah.
yeah. And they're like, we lack a lot of enzymes to explain why they don't, process bananas nor alcohol all that easily for his people.
Yeah, more glitter vomit in this one, right? Yeah, I had those. I did. Genesis has a line in that same chunk of when they're in the shuttle where she says, "One day I'm going to become a captain just to ruin both your lives. That's a promise." There was a funny bit from the digital dean at the beginning where he's talking about, obviously the end of the school year, and he does a bit about, try not to sneak off to the storage rooms. He says, "A friendly reminder that storage rooms are for storage only and not to be used for storing yourself so you can do other things. So please, store it in your pants. The management thanks you." And the only other one that I liked, and this, as far as sexy pickup lines, especially delivered by Caleb, he says, when he's trying to basically say goodbye to Tarima because he thinks he's not coming back, he says, "Tarima, your name sounds like music. Did I ever tell you that? When I look at you, that's what I see. Music." Like, oh, dude. Chris Blush, like, come on, that's some sexy talk.
Yeah, and it was it's kind of odd, but the two of them do come and try to help, right? Tarima and the Klingon kid, Jaden.
Yeah. I did like in this episode they called him multiple times. They called him Jay. I'm like, do we get to start calling him Jay now? Because that would be way easier.
Yeah.
Excuse my guest stars for a moment there.
Okay.
So, excuse my guest stars there. I think that's my wife coming home from her late shift at the hospital.
Okay. We can't hear it.
Oh, good.
But it'll be on recording later anyway, so.
Oh, it certainly will. My big question for this one, I remember thinking about this years ago, because they've been talking about doing an Academy series for years and years and years and years, like literally 35 years, or if not more. I mean, they were probably talking about it back in the 80s, too. I always thought to myself, an Academy series is such a no-brainer idea, but if you do it and you set it in San Francisco, then you miss out on all the space stuff. So my question is having the Academy be a starship the best idea ever? Like, it makes so much sense. Like, it just gives them it in the same, like, they kind of painted themselves into that corner the first couple of seasons of DS9 too. They're like, well, it's a space station. And they're like, well, the space station can move, but it kind of has to park here. And then we had a couple seasons of like, yeah, they take shuttlecrafts, they had the runabouts, they could do stuff, but it was kind of missing that thing. And then they got the Defiant, and it was like, okay, now here we go. And that feels like when that show kicked into high gear. The idea of the Academy basically just picking up stakes and hey, we're going to go on a field trip, and they just take off from San Francisco with the entire headquarters. It's wildly impractical because, if they're out in space and they, well, everybody in the Academy's dead. It's not a logical thing, but it's such a good plot storytelling device, I think.
Yeah, that's true. It's kind of like, to me, it's like the chariot in Lost in Space. Like Lost in Space for the first bunch of years, they would land on a planet, they'd be stuck there, and they would just kind of like hang around the ship, right? But in like the second or third season, they had this chariot thing, and they could go on road trips and stuff, right? Like kind of like The Martian. You know, The Martian, he takes the rovers and goes to try to find the other base station or whatever. So you're right. It's kind of like you begin with like, again, Deep Space Nine is a perfect analogy. It's almost like a bus station, right? Or what was it? It was a not Night Court, but there was another show in somewhere in the olden days.
The John LaRoquette show. That was the John LaRoquette show. They were in a bus station in like St. Louis or something.
Right. And he just kind of ran the station for a bit, and Wings. I think Wings was the same thing. Wings was like
set in a small airport, right?
Yeah, right. So I mean, you kind of limit yourself there. You can't really get on your horse and ride kind of thing, right? Whereas, yeah, it is kind of convenient. But I wonder about the students that didn't make it back in time for curfew. Are they still wandering around San Francisco looking for their class?
Well, I mean, they did say that at one point make a point to say, like, somebody contact Laura and tell her that, she is going to be missing 2 more people from our head count. Like,
yeah. Well, that's Laura. That's the character we said that's missing, right?
Yeah. I mean, the other thing they did here is the saucer separation, right? This is the first time we've seen the saucer from the Athena separate from the rest, and they say like the bottom half is the atrium. So and then of course Nala sort of says like he doesn't get to keep my ship. We're going to get my ship back, So in theory, the Academy is now under Venari Rawl control.
Oh, because they left the whole like dorms and everything behind, or whatever.
It must be, because she basically says, like, at one point she says, like, we'll have to abandon the atrium. Like, that's the whole rest of the headquarters, right?
But so does all those students sort of hanging around?
Well, no, because all the students got off at Beta Z.
Oh, they did already.
That's why it's supposed to be only the 3 of them. And then they find out it's Jay and Tareem are on board too. But everybody else got off at Beta Z because they're supposed to be going to this celebration for the inauguration of the new Federation headquarters and everything.
Okay.
So theoretically, there's 5 people on the Athena, and then the 5 people that come on board are the 4 students plus Caleb's mom. So there's 10 people on the entirety of the Athena. Also, does it feel like it should take more than 3 people to run a starship?
I mean, with all the automation in their time period, maybe not.
It's all run by AI,
right?
They
do have really good AI.
Like, I hear you for dramatic effects and stuff, but the Defiant had a pretty small crew. So if you extrapolate from there, like, okay, you automate even more, what could you do?
And Picard had those, what's the Doctor again? He's like a holographic whatever.
Yeah.
They had that one guy who kept showing up as all these different entities.
Yeah, Rios had his various holograms. They had actual titles. I don't recall.
Like
it was like a navigator, engineer. Right, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you feel like you got your money's worth. You got you're set up for a finale that looks like it might be satisfying. I don't know that they're going to have to do the Jaime Lopez patented "Hold My Beer" finale. We kind of have set the stage for this over the course of the whole season. It doesn't feel rushed. It feels kind of earned.
Yeah, and it's interesting that it didn't say to be continued at the end, or at least I didn't see it. Right, so one of the things, probably one of the first times they've done that. But yeah, it's definitely, they're going out on a 2-parter for sure, right? And they have to resolve, because, all the sort of arcs we talked about, you asked early on in this thing, is the missing mother going to have to get resolved before the end of the season? Is all this, there was a few other things that had to, or the bad guy, the Paul Giamatti character, Nusrala, or whatever his name is, they have to settle up with him as well, right? So even though he wasn't even in this episode.
Yeah, and it will be interesting to see, because they clearly have built up this sort of animosity between Nala and Nusbraka. So
and also the Tatiana Maslany character as well, right? She has a relationship with him in the beginning. He kind of frames her. She gets put in jail because of her proximity to him, right?
Yep. My prediction is that in some fashion or another, the mom and Nusbraka both disappear through a wormhole or vanish at the end of it, so that there's no satisfying conclusion. I feel like I feel like you wouldn't want to kill either of those characters, but I feel like they're going to like disappear for the continue the missing characters for a while.
You fall into the Nexus.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. It might take 2, possibly 3 years to find them, just to line up nicely with I believe it's probably like a 4-year typical degree for Starfleet Academy.
Well, we also have to deal with the fact that his mom's now going to realize that he's in Starfleet, right? Who she hates.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't look very impressed when she woke up and saw, where she was and what was going on.
Probably pretty traumatized, right? Like, it wasn't just Starfleet. It was like, this is the woman who put me in jail and ripped me apart from my son.
Yeah, I mean, could you imagine, the betrayal you would feel? Like, this woman separated us and is now, like, mentoring my son? Like, that would feel rough. Before we move past Star Trek, I do want to flag, I saw an interesting tidbit this week. So they announced that they have finished filming season 2 of Starfleet Academy in Toronto, and they've already finished season 4 and season 5 in Mississauga, where they were filming Strange New Worlds. So there are currently no Star Trek series in production. There are 3 in the pipeline that they're working on post-production, but they have neither announced anything further, nor are they developing currently anything further of this iteration of Star Trek. And this sale is looming that will merge these mega organizations, media organizations together. It will obviously, I don't think, in a recent call, one of the leaders, new leaders of Paramount basically said, like, Star Trek is one of our, luxury brands. We're not going to waste it. But I do think it's interesting that, knowing obviously that we've got, 1 full and 1 short season of Strange New Worlds, a second season of this series is coming, which is good to know because obviously I'm enjoying it. But also I wonder what the future holds. I wonder if this is time for a reset. There's been some speculation that that some of the people who have sort of been the shepherds, the stewards of this current, I mean, it's been, as strange as it's going to sound, guys, it's been 9 years we've been doing this, talking about this iteration of Star Trek, this starting with Disco and carrying over into all these other series. It might be kind of winding down, or it might be ready for more. We might get, a 3rd, 4th, 5th season of Academy, or maybe there'll be something new. But I thought it was really interesting that we're, for the first time in almost a decade, there's no Star Trek being made.
Yep, suddenly Orville's looking really good.
Yep.
Filler. Or maybe a Firefly 2 or something. Firefly TNG.
Yeah. It was New Horizons. It would be like Old Horizons, More Horizons, Extra Horizons.
Now, a word from our sponsor. Now, back to the show.
All right, should we move on to Wonderman?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, we've been sitting on Wonderman for a while to get the 3 of us together to sort of give our opinions on it. So, lead on.
I was very surprised by this series. I given what we've sort of seen from Marvel TV, and especially Marvel TV, where they kind of drop all the episodes at once, I wasn't sure what to expect. Again, I like the cast, I like the concept, but also was a little bit worried that if they were doing the, all episodes drop on one day, we're just going to kind of sweep it under the rug. But I really enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed it way more than I thought I would, and I thought it was a really fresh, kind of fun way to approach this world, where it wasn't, this was the first time you could say you could watch an entire Marvel series with no connection to anything else. Now, is there stuff in there that, could and probably does hint at other things, that does link to a larger world? I mean, obviously it helps if you know who the Ben Kingsley character is from, the Iron Man, Iron Man 3 and some of the, the bonus material that's had him in it over the years. But you don't have to, you get that pretty clearly in the series. And I thought Yahya Abdul-Mateen III was amazing. She was terrific in it. And just the chemistry between the two of them, just this sort of like, the sort of trying to keep the secret hidden, but also trying to sort of, make his dreams come true. And then, the sort of the duplicitous stuff that's going on with Ben Kingsley's character. I thought it was really interesting. It was definitely, again, a huge gear shift. It was not sort of what you'd expect from a Marvel show, but I actually didn't mind it at all. And it did make me wonder, where we could see Simon Williams pop back up again. And, Wonderman is a long-standing character. It's been around since the early 1960s. There's a lot of history there that they could delve into. And in the comics, he is also, a famous actor, and he is, out in his powers and stuff like that. So it could be interesting. I don't know. Jaime, I want to know, what do you think?
Yeah, I liked it as being different and kind of meta. The interaction between the pair and seeing the Mandarin make a return was fun. I don't know that it's a must-see, because it feels like really hard to explain to people, oh yeah, you kind of need to know who this dude is. Okay, you kind of need to understand why everybody doesn't want superheroes in movies, like literal superheroes in literal movies kind of thing. Like it feels like it's for us. I feel like it's something I could recommend to like a comics fan, a Marvel Cinematic Universe fan. I don't think I could recommend it to like family members who casually watch this stuff.
What do you think, Tim?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I like the sort of, as Jaime sort of explained it as meta. Like it's kind of like being in Hollywood and then having to go through auditions and all that kind of stuff, but then finding out that spoilers, spoiler warning, all of that was a setup, really. That all of his hopes and dreams and getting cast in these roles was a part of the setup to try and corner him again. The cows going down the funnel to the point where he would reveal his powers, or at least they would discover, because they suspected he had powers, right? And he kind of like hides it. We don't really find out about it, till almost third or fourth episode in, kind of how bad it is, right? But again, and sort of, I've lost the point of why they didn't want supers in movies. Is it because of insurance, or because people just don't like that kind of thing, or they want?
Well, they do that whole backstory, which is a real deep cut for massive nerds like me. They do the whole thing about the doorman, right? So the doorman. Right. They do that whole sort of one episode that focuses around this character, the doorman, who, has this power. And then they basically, Hollywood's like, oh, great, you've got a power. We can turn that into a trick that we use to save us money on green screen, and we can do all this stuff. And they basically make the doorman a star. But of course, eventually it backfires, and
yeah, he loses his power.
And Josh Gad goes missing, right? And, I thought that was really funny, that getting Josh Gad to play like this hyper version of himself, and then basically having it backfire on him was a funny take too. But the idea is that since the doorman episode, things have gone south, and now they don't want to work with superpowered people because of, obviously, they can't afford to have their stars like Josh Gad die. So
or disappear. Yeah, we don't know where he is, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of a John Malkovich thing,
Yeah, and the doorman thing is lifted from the comics. The doorman is a pretty obscure minor character from, and I'm not making this up, the Great Lakes Avengers, which was a kind of a group of sort of small powered heroes that sort of banded together to protect the central part of North America, as opposed to just being camped out in LA or New York. So yeah, I was the Leo pointing at the screen meme when that scene came out. I was like, whoa, doorman, what's the doorman? But yeah, it was definitely I guess understandable if Hollywood doesn't want to work with powered people after they take out one A-list celebrity, right? But yeah, it's weird. You're right, Tim. I think you wouldn't have to watch this. You could pass this, and I think your mileage may vary, but I do think the performances are so strong that you could probably show it to someone who doesn't get into the Marvel stuff and be like, well, this is some of the possibilities. The thing is, it would be a bait and switch because there's nothing else like this, right? This is very much its own little, and Jaime, I think you nailed it. It's very meta. It's very like, it's kind of a culmination. You need kind of to have watched a lot of Marvel stuff for this to kind of be in on the joke. I did think it was funny, the whole stuff with Joe Pantoliano, the Joey Pants stuff, and again, just bringing these like actors in, and sort of a collision of the real world with the Marvel Cinematic Universe was kind of an interesting take. But yeah, I really do wonder. I've seen people being like, are they going to do a season 2? I'm like, I just cannot see a world where they do a season 2, and yet they do kind of set the stage with the way they end things for these characters reappearing. So I'm curious. I'll be curious to see what they decide to do with these characters.
So on a side tangent, it is a little bit like the studio in the sense that it's about making of movies, and in this case, making of a superhero movie. But I do want to talk about really quickly about the ACTRA awards, or now Actor Awards, that just went out, and Catherine O'Hara won a posthumous award as best actor in actress in a comedy. Seth Rogen won for best actor in a comedy as well. But the star of the night was Ryan Coogler and Sinners, which took the top movie, top actor, right?
But then it wasn't because it's been fascinating to watch the Sinners versus One Battle After Another that's been going back and forth, because One Battle for Another, it won Best Director at the
Golden
Directors
Globes,
Guild
right?
Awards, Golden Globes. So like both of them are coming in to Oscar season in just a couple weeks with some heat behind them. I do wonder if we're going to see kind of a weird split. We've seen this from time to time at the Oscars where like one movie will win but not win Best Director, and that'll go to the other one. Like, I wonder if we'll see like Paul Thomas Anderson finally win a Best Director, but maybe Sinners wins Best Picture, or something that's kind of like split the difference. And then one is an original screenplay, one is an adapted screenplay, so they can give them each one of those. Like, I just wonder if we're going to see those things split, or if we're going to see like a steamroll, that we've seen in some past awards shows. But it's funny, we talked about it not necessarily being like the greatest Oscar year as far as the level of competition across 10 movies, but at the same time, these two are both like, they're both coming in on heaters. It'll be interesting to see how it finally ends. What do you guys think is going to win? Do you have a prediction, or what are your favorites?
Well, I've seen both Sinners and One Battle After Another. I've seen Begonia as well. I think I've seen most of the movies. I saw the Frankenstein one as well. But yeah, I mean, F1, my initial review of Sinners was it felt very much like, it felt to me like Dusk Till Dawn, right? There was some really interesting performances in it, and I don't remember if I saw it on a plane or if I saw it in a theater or whatever. But I didn't go to a theater to see it. I saw it on TV, I think. But and I was impressed with what's his name, B. Johnson.
Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan, thank you. His portrayal, I mean, that was like, initially, like I went, ooh, those two guys look a lot alike, kind of thing. I had to look it up. And there was some interesting, sort of things from the universe of vampires and stuff like that, where they can't come into a house unless they're invited and kind of thing, right? So you're safe in that sense. But then there's also the brother in, the spoilers if you haven't seen it, but there is contention within the house as well. Let's just put it that way, right? Plus, you said there was a really cool dance scene in the movie and all that kind of stuff, right? So there were some really good pieces. So from a kind of movies that win Academy Awards, it was up there in terms of it had sort of a little bit of everything in it. But One Battle of Another was good. I mean, it had some really interesting twists and turns and stuff like that in it. It was a bit predictable in some parts, but the Sean Penn character is off the hook. The mother of the daughter is off the hook. The Leonardo
Tiana Taylor,
DiCaprio.
she might win an Oscar for that performance.
Yeah, and what's his name? Leonardo DiCaprio, kind of like acting against type. Was really good. So yeah, and the sort of the whole sort of like, he's in a rebel organization, but he can't remember the password after like 20 years of vaping, right? So
I was going to say I'm smoking dope. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, doesn't he use one password? What's wrong with that guy? Like, after all the years I've supported people who can't remember their passwords, I thought that was hilarious, right?
Yeah. Yeah. How about you, Jaime? Which, did either of those rise above the other?
I feel like it's a tough one because there are good choices, but I don't know that there's a killer, like, this has to be the number one. I feel like the Academy tends to go for things that reflect on itself, which means if I have to give the nod, I would put money on Hamnet.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's the other one I haven't seen yet. Have you seen that one?
No.
I've not seen that one. I'm going to check on Just Watch if it's available somewhere for free.
Yeah, my sister went to that one. It's playing in my watch list pick. I'll talk about that in a minute, but it is playing at some places. Like it's still on in theaters and stuff, right? But
you can rent or buy digitally, but you can't watch it for free anywhere. Moment.
Yeah, it might come down to like a 99-cent rental just before the award show, right? Because I've watched a few things. Like I think I saw Begonia on a 99-cent rental. No, I watched that on.
No, it dropped on Amazon, right?
Yeah, there was something I talked about last week where I did a 99-cent rental. Weapons, I've seen Weapons too. That was another one that's in contention, right?
I think it'll be interesting to see how this does play out. I mean, the other thing that One Battle has going for it is obviously its relevance to the moment we're living in, right? And obviously we've talked about that across, a bunch of the things that we've watched, but it's hard not to watch One Battle and the idea of just sort of rising up against government oppression and the government overreach and militarization and all those different themes that Anderson's playing with in that movie, and be like, well, is this an opportunity for Hollywood to say, yeah, we recognize that this is of the moment, right?
Yeah, it's $14.99 rental, so it's still high on the price range there, and it is still playing in some theaters too.
Yeah, I really do hope it comes. I mean, I would definitely like to see it, especially before the show, but c'est la vie.
Yeah, but like you said before, like I remember that when I saw American Confidential, like I knew that was going to win the Best Picture award. It was so clear as a winner, right? But yeah, it's hard to say what I mean. To me, like the One Battle After Another feels like an Oscar-winning movie, but but then in the same sense, so does Sinners, right? From the performance point of view.
Yeah, I do wonder if this is one of those Hollywood things too that we just we don't know this behind the scenes stuff, but like Paul Thomas Anderson has been making important and interesting films for about 30 years. And Ryan Coogler is, again, an incredibly creative and influential person right now, and so talented. But I feel like he's got more career in front of him than maybe PTA does. And maybe that means that they're going to be like, well, let's give it to PTA because Ryan's probably got a couple more bangers in him to come, right? I'd hate to think that that's what it comes to, but I do wonder if that's the kind of thought that goes into these things, right?
All right. Well, should we move on to our watch list?
Sure.
Yeah, so since I was just talking about small repertory cinemas, there was an article in the Toronto Star about some of the really interesting theaters that are around Toronto. Obviously, it starts off talking about the what was called the Lumiere Cinematography, which was at the CNE in 1899. It was one of the first places you could watch moving pictures in Toronto. But I used to go to the Kingsway when I was a kid, which we used to go on every Thursday, Friday. We'd go spend $2 and see like 2 movies, just for something to do, with some recreational things with us, right? But the Fox Theater is nearby me, and that's the one that my sister turned me on to. It's just down the road on Queen Street. And they have a mailing list and they send it out. So I know Hamnet's playing there for a couple of days, in the next couple of days, and also got the TIFF Theater near me. But there's a bunch of theaters around. There's Ted Rogers, which is the Hot Docs Cinema, which is a festival of documentaries that they do every year here. But that's moved to Vancouver, so never mind that. But there's these are small theaters that probably seat maybe 500 people. So they're great places to watch, movies. Sometimes you see a movie when the Terry Gilliam movie, what was it called? I knew it until I started. The Zero Theorem, right? Yeah, that was not playing in any big theater, so it was only playing there. So I went to one of these small theaters and saw that. I'm pretty sure. I think I saw the Adam. What's the last one?
Don Quixote.
Don Quixote one. Yeah, I saw that one in a theater as well. So, but I think that might have been a proper theater. But not a proper theater like 1,500 people, but one of the smaller cinemas at one of the smaller places. So there's lots of tiny theaters here in Toronto to go see movies, which is kind of nice and the Carlton Theater, which is over where the old Maple Leaf Gardens used to be. They have 6 screens there, I think, right? So yeah, so it's lots of opportunity if you're in Toronto or in the Toronto vicinity and you want to see some movies. There are places to go. Okay, and then so I did see In the Blink of an Eye. That movie came out on, I think, Disney this week, right?
Yep.
It is I mean, it was a good movie. It was interesting. It follows three women's lives in three different phases of life. Like starts off with a Neanderthal couple, and then there's the the Quincy Jones' daughter, Rashida Jones. Is that her name?
Yeah. Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's her. She's a scientist, and she's working on anthropology, and she's actually looking at the bones of said Neanderthals. And then there's a future one where Kate from Saturday Night Live, McKinnon, thank you, she's traveling to a future Earth, right, with a bunch of embryos and stuff like that, right? So, but it's almost like it's a feel-good science fiction movie, right? There's not a lot of pew-pew. There's not a lot of high, heavy tech stuff. And it's all about relationships. So it's kind of like your perfect sci-fi date movie, right? So yeah, definitely if you're looking for someone to cuddle up to and take in some sci-fi, that's definitely the one for you, right? If you're into anthropology, if you're into future, where we're going, because we have to go somewhere at some point in the future, right? So not in my lifetime or not in our lifetimes, but at some point, humans are going to have to do something about the place we're living in because it's not going to be here forever, right?
Not the rate we're going.
So yeah. The other thing I want to talk about too is the other thing I started watching. Jonathan put me onto this last week was Paradise, right? So I actually have just finished all of the Paradise just before we started recording here. And we can talk about when it's on, because that's my big question is, what night is it on normally? But I asked Jaime and I did a More Than Just Code yesterday. So we've all three of us have seen Paradise up to a certain point. So I don't know if we could just do a quick round the table on season 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Really interesting kind of concept about, there's a big disaster that's going to happen and how societies all react, and this big master plan to go and build a giant bunker and move 20,000 people into it, right? Sort of thing, right? And the sort of the madness, and of course it's a whodunit because it starts off with a murder of a minor character called the President of the United States, right? I guess he is President of the United States, but and then we go from trying to figure out all the sort of there's all this mystery around the bunker. It's kind of like Silo, but not sort of a mystery. Like Silo, we don't know how Silo got to where Silo is. This is kind of like the dawn of Silo kind of thing, or a similar kind of concept, right? And we follow a bunch of characters. And then the second season is kind of interesting, kind of the way they break it around. But it's all told in flashbacks and flash forwards. And yeah, it's really interesting. I don't know, what do you guys think about the show?
Yeah, I've seen the first season and I've enjoyed it. Need to catch up with the second season. Hard one to talk about without getting too spoilery, right?
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it too. Finished the first season, haven't started the second yet because my wife and I will be watching that one together over the next week or two. We'll start dipping into that, but it's a weird one because you're right in making the comparison to Silo, Tim. It's sort of similar concept of this was a pocket of humanity that survives a disaster, and the mystery in that one is sort of how did they get here, and it's kind of that here too. But more so, it's tied to this sort of larger conspiracy mystery kind of stuff that's going on, murder mystery that's going on. I guess that was my sort of question for the two of you. Where does this fall? Like, I like the show. It might lean a little bit more to sort of murder mystery in a small town than it is to a sci-fi series. But there's definitely a sci-fi series element to it, and I suspect season 2. Without getting too spoilery, I think there's going to be a larger context to this story and a larger look at the world. It's hard not to imagine it being that, but it's weird because it's kind of dystopia, but it's not. It's kind of sci-fi, but it's not. There's definitely a future tech kind of element to it, but it's not the most important element. Like, it really is kind of more focused on the characters. It's kind of hard to put a finger on, but maybe that's why it works.
Yeah, I mean, there have been a number of shows like this out there, like over the years that I've watched. Like, I think one called Revolution, where it's kind of like what happens after. Like, little bit like Last of Us. It's like what happens after
Station
the
11
EMP
right?
takes out all the tech. Station 11 too. But the Revolution one is an EMP takes out all technology, right? And then what happens to society after that? They all have to use horses and carts and stuff like that, right? And they're trying to walk around and trying to restart society in the same sort of sense, right? So it is. You're right. It's kind of like it's kind of soft sci-fi in a sense, right? Because you're right. It does spend a lot of time on, again, one of the things about the show is it's a bunch of billionaires who got together and funded this thing, right? So, but there's still the human drama. There's still the political. There's still the, who's really in charge, who's really pulling the strings, who's, and it's kind of it very much like, how does a person get to become president of the United States? Well, he gets put there by other people, right? Sort of thing. Yeah. So that kind of enters into it too. So and then there's like the whole, like you said, technology and security and, where are the guns and stuff like that,
And yeah, shout out to Gerald McCraney playing the dad.
Oh yeah.
Have not seen. I mean, he's crazy how long that guy's career has been. I mean, he's just had all these lives in these different things. He's 78 years old now, and I think like a lot of people, Simon and Simon back in the early 80s was a big hit. Where the two brothers who had like a private detective agency and stuff like that. But this, then he had was it called GI Dad or something? What was the name of that series? Major Dad.
Yeah.
And yeah, this guy's had just more lives than the average cat. It's incredible, this guy's career. When he popped on the screen, I just heard that voice and was like, oh my god, it's Gerald McCraney.
Yeah, and also he's got the sort of he plays sort of an interesting role because he's part of the kingmaker rich person, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then he and then he's part of the people behind. He's one of the masterminds behind building this bunker, and then he's got dementia, right? So because of the way they tell the story, like today in the Today time, he's got dementia, and he's out of it, kind of thing, and. But in the flashbacks, he's more of a prominent character and someone to be reckoned with, right? But I like that. I like the way he switches characters. Did we get Jaime's perspective on the show?
Yeah. Well,
yeah. I do think I think his name is James Marsden. I always think of him as Cyclops. I like him as a president dude. Like, I think he's got a vibe. Kind of, I'm trying my best. I'm screwing it up. And kind of feels like a human sort of thing instead of the way that they tend to have this role is like being very inspirational or very corrupt or whatever. This feels like a dude who ended up here.
Well, you haven't seen it yet, but in the second season, he at one point he goes, "What up, homie?" And the main character looks at him and he kind of goes, "I'm a young president. This is how I talk."
Yeah, and again, probably definitely worth shutting out Sterling K. Brown, obviously, as the star. I mean, that guy's just, he just feels like he could do anything. Like, I've never seen him do a bad performance. He just feels like you could slot him into pretty much any role, and that guy will crush it. So, bravo to that guy.
And without spoiling it for you guys, the fourth episode of the second season is probably one of the best episodes I've seen on TV in a long time.
Wow. All right. High praise.
Yeah. Get your Kleenex out. All right. Over to you.
Mine will be a quick one. I just wanted to flag. I saw today that Zootopia 2, which was the highest grossing movie at the box office for 2025, is dropping on Disney Plus next week, March 11th. It's coming to the service. I didn't make the time to go see it in the theater, but I really enjoyed the first one. I thought it was one of the smartest, it's not a Pixar movie, it's a Disney proper movie. One of the smartest movies they've done in years. Really, really interesting. I mean, they're kind of going for some heavy stuff in that one. Like, there's stuff about race relations and use of police force, and there's some heavy themes resting inside of a children's movie that I thought was just terrific, and also just fun and funny and entertaining. So I'm looking forward to dipping back into that world. I'm gonna watch that next week.
Yeah, I haven't seen the first one, so.
It's good. I would definitely give that a recommendation. It's one of the stronger ones I've seen in the past decade.
No, Jaime's pick, I saw the first two episodes on ABC.
Yeah, there's a third episode available now. So I saw the first two on the premiere, and the third episode just came out yesterday, I think, here in the States. That is Scrubs 2026 on ABC and Hulu in the USA, probably Disney Plus, where you guys are at?
Yes, I
Question
believe it is,
mark?
yes.
Disney Plus, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm enjoying it so far. It feels like it's hitting the right stride, just like I'm going to compare it to the King of the Hill continuation, where these characters have clearly advanced. So it's not exactly a jump from, like a season 9 to a season 10. It's not a reboot. It's not like they're recasting characters, but you have some enjoyable folks. Not everyone. I don't know if they're going to make cameos later. But I didn't look at the cast to see if there were some folks who weren't able to come back. But so far, I'm enjoying it. It's got that vibe of like, okay, what happens when the people who were the newbies are now the veterans? What is it like? So we'll see if they grow the newbie characters better than they did in the first two episodes, or if they're going to lean a little bit more on the older characters, the old newbies, the oldies.
Yeah.
I
it's
never
a teaching
finished
hospital, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, John. Go.
Yeah, so I never finished the original series. I really enjoyed. I watched some of the earlier seasons and thought it was funny and occasionally heartfelt but I know that they ended it with like a weird, like they brought in exactly kind of this. They brought in some new characters and kind of twisted things around a little bit and tried to sort of keep it going. I did not. See sort of how it landed, but I mean, this seems like a kind of an easy one to do of bring back some classic characters, introduce some new ones. The part that immediately struck me, I heard that the two sort of romantic leads are sort of still on again, off again after all this time, which made me laugh. I was kind of fitting with those characters, but yeah, I'll definitely make some time for this at some point.
See where it goes. And speaking of returning, I've just added on the bottom of my notes here that Monarch Legacy of Monsters has come back, and the first episode was out. I don't know if you guys watched it last season. I watched all of it last season.
Mm-hmm.
But the the first episode back is kind of like, what? A little inconceivable in some parts, but I guess it's a kaiju movie, right? So a lot of it's going to be inconceivable, right?
Yeah, this is one where you have Kurt Russell, in the now present day, and then you have his son Wyatt.
Yeah.
Wyatt play same character, but in like the 60s. And I feel like the 60s stuff I find much more fascinating of how did they discover all these monsters? What was the Monarch group doing then? That's not to say there aren't enjoyable things in the modern era, but when it goes back and forth between the two, I think that's the stuff I like the most. It's kind of the lore behind the kaiju.
Yeah, and without spoiling anything, the sort of the through lines of some of the characters are really, really interesting too, right? I'm not so sure. I'm not really big into the big kaiju kind of movies anyway, but I like, I've always liked Kurt Russell and Wyatt Russell's stuff, so I'm glad to see them in them. And they have a cottage near where Jonathan and I used to go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're up in Muskoka. There's what's the Stony Lake is the big one where all the fancy places are. Yeah, Kurt Russell and what their wife's name? Goldie Hawn, right? Yeah, Goldie Hawn. But yeah, Wyatt talks about growing up in Muskoka and stuff like that. Yeah, and he was a goaltender back in the day. He wanted to be a professional hockey player, not an actor.
Yeah, I think there was a run up there when I lived up there. There was a bunch of celebrities that would summer up that way. I remember going to a hockey camp. Roger Nielsen, the old Maple Leafs coach, used to have a hockey camp up there and see celebrities with their kids. I remember seeing Ron Howard up there with his kids. Yeah. So, yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, on that note, I guess we can wrap it up for another week. So, Jonathan, if people want to get in touch with you, where would they find you?
Well, start on our Slack channel. That's where we have a lot of fun. If you can't find me there, maybe check out I'm at JPK, or you can find me on Instagram. I'm at JPK News.
So we should probably talk about this Slack channel thing, because you mentioned it a lot, quite often. I don't always put the link in, but if people do want to know how to get in, if you head over to the other website, morethanjustcode.com, there's a contact sheet there where you can basically answer a skill testing question, and then, or it doesn't matter. Just answer the question. We'll give you an invite over to the Slack channel. You can join us there. And then, because it's the Slack channel was set up originally for the other podcast, but most of the people on there are Spockcast folks, right? So if you're looking for how to get there, I will try to I'll put the link in there right now that I'm thinking about it. And then we'll head over to Jaime and ask him if people want to get in touch with him, where they find him.
I'm on Instagram as @DevOfTheHair.
All right. And as usual, my name is Timitra, Timmitra, and I'll be on Mastodon, on Blue Sky, Threads, Substack. Yeah, pretty much where you'll find me with that handle. So until next time, we'll see you in the future.
Bye.
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 You've been listening to the Spockcast podcast. If you want to find out more about the podcast or see the episode show notes, visit the Spockcast website at spockcast.com. If you have feedback or questions, you can get in touch with us on the website. If you like the show, please consider recommending us to a friend, writing a review on iTunes, or pledging any amount at patreon.com/Spockcast. You can find details on how to help us on our website, spockcast.com/sponsor us. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the future.
What else is going on?
Well, since we last spoke, Jaime's country's at war, so there's that.
Oh, yeah, the war. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Indeed.
Been a crazy week. Not that every week hasn't been crazy for the past several years. Oh, but the dog shooter got fired, so that's good.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, today, right? Today. I was just listening to a song on Threads about the strange-looking guy, Miller.
Oh, yeah, Stephen Miller, yeah.
Somebody's written a country western song about him.
Yeah.
Maybe the link is...
My favorite portrayal of him is on this last season of South Park, where they portray him looking like Nosferatu. It's very funny. I see online that apparently the conclusion of whatever is going on with Nathan Fillion is supposed to happen on the 15th, so end of next week. Well, I guess that's what, Monday? That's no, it's Sunday the 15th. Your fingers crossed. Something that even Tammy will get excited about.
Yeah, well, she will now. There's a long time there where she wouldn't care, right? All right.
She sent me a LinkedIn friend request last week, and I was
Did she? Oh, yeah. She's got a new app coming out for writers, actually.
Yeah, I saw that, and I was just like, oh, well, all right.
Uh-huh. Well, you've spoken to her. You were on her show once, and
I was. Yep. Whatever became of that show?
Jaime, did you ever go on the show on Roundabout?
Yes.
Okay, I think Mark was the only one that never did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That show on hiatus now?
No, we do it. I do one-on-one interviews with people, and like yesterday, Jaime and I did an episode. We had some guests come who were scheduled to come on, but they had thunderstorms and their internet's got knocked out and stuff. But it was darn Americans, you know.
And their weather.
And their crazy weather.
Yeah.
Usually we're the ones with crazy weather, but
yeah, I was gonna say I haven't seen grass or the ground in 5 months. Yeah,
'tis what 'tis. All right, folks. Oh, right. What night is Paradise actually on? I guess I could look on Just Watch, right?
I have it right here.
Oh, next episode, Monday, March 9th. Okay, never mind. IMDb to the rescue.
Yeah, I see 9th, 16th, 23rd, and 30th, so there you go.
Only a few more episodes left.
Yeah, it's funny because again, this was another 3-episode drop, so like halfway through the season after 1 week.
Yeah, Jaime mentioned that yesterday too.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll talk to you later.
All right. Talk to you later.
Or in the future. Sorry, we'll talk to you in the future.
Yeah.
Have to stay on theme.
There you go. All right. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
See you. Bye.
You know that wellness goal you set at the start of the year? It's not too late to stick with it and make your future self proud, especially with the all-in-one nutrition shake from Kachava. With 25 grams of protein, 6 grams of fiber, greens, adaptogens, and more. No fillers, no nonsense, just the highest quality ingredients. Stick with your wellness goals. Go to kachava.com and use code SHAKE for 15% off. That's KACHAVA.com, code SHAKE.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.